As anyone who's been watching the podcast for a number of years knows, about 4 years ago, I went on a health journey. Was it enough just to get in the gym? Or how important is your mental mindset when it comes to getting healthy? That's the topic for today's podcast. I'm Chris Hadnaghi, CEO and founder of Social Engineer LLC, the Innocent Lives Foundation, and the Institute for Social Engineering. This is episode 332 of the Social Engineer Podcast, the Human Element series. You might notice that we have the doctor here. This is not the doctor in series, but Toby and Abbie have been friends for many years. So our co-host today is none other than Dr. Abbie Maroño.
I'm Dr. Abbie. I'm a behavioral and social scientist, a top 1% expert, and the director of education at Social Engineer. I specialize in nonverbal communication, influence, and decision making.
And we have a couple sponsors for this show, but first at Social Engineer, I want to invite you to go look at our mastermind class. We have a really interesting group now we're forming where you can come in and you can learn all about all different aspects of social engineering communication and apply it to however you want in your life. You can go to social-engineer.com, go to the little menu for professional services, click on the link for Mastermind Group, and you can learn all about what it is there. We invite you to take a look at that. Also want to invite everyone to take a minute to go to innocentlivesfoundation.org. If you're not familiar with the nonprofit, for 8 years now, we've been working with law enforcement around the globe to help find people who are trafficking and making child abuse material. And we're up to 538 cases now, somewhere around there. It's just amazing to see that much work being done. If you can support us, we can definitely use it. So you can go over to innocentlivesfoundation.org and donate, or if you want to donate your time, we can take that too. If you're a parent or a caregiver, there's lots of information there, including 2 new books from Dr. Abbie that came out on how you can empower your kids to make a stand for themselves if they are ever in a situation that is not safe. And last but not least, if you like the music on the show, it is none other than Clutch. So give them a shout out, clutchmerch.com. As anyone who listens to this knows, 8 years ago, Neil, the lead singer, helped me start ILF. So there's a lot of love for them here too. If you like this episode, give us a heart, thumbs up, like, whatever it is. We can spread the message all around. And now let's get to our guest here and why we're all here. Toby Wright is an online coach and personal trainer with a passion for mental health. Toby believes that true wellness begins from the inside out, blending evidence-based training with a focus on mental health and mindset. That is quite interesting and really nice to have you here, Toby.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
How long you been in the training space?
I mean, I've been qualified for just over 10 years. I mean, I've been training, so I'm 28 now. I've been training myself and learning since I was 16, just before 16, so 12 years.
Nice.
All different variations of training, you know, in the gym, boxing, running, you name it. And it's such a huge thing for me. So to have it as my career it's a real honor.
What made you decide that it's not just something you enjoy doing, but it's what you want to make a career out of?
I think for me, I knew that what my purpose was to contribute. So I think you know how passionate I am about mental health for young people. And I knew that I was never going to be a doctor. So I thought, what can I do that would not only be something that I love, but that I know helped me and can help many others. And that was when, you know, I've always worked hard in what I've worked in, but I knew that this was a purpose for me. So almost selfishly doing this keeps me going. And I know what it can do for others.
Were you always an online coach or did you
personal
start during COVID?
Yeah, personal trainer first. Then now the space is hugely into online. I mean, it's kind of 2 very different, even though it's the same thing, they're both very, very different. A lot of people with ChatGPT, you can type in and get a really good, okay fitness plan. You can get a diet plan. That's not what people get online coaches for.
Yeah.
It's everything that comes with it. If the best coaches, because the knowledge is out there, you can learn it. It's not hard. It's very simple stuff on the basic side. You don't need to know too much, but the best coaches make you want to train, make you realize why you're training and keep you going consistently.
Yeah. My coach is in Ireland. So And I've had him for, I don't know, years now. And I have enough workouts that I actually don't need him to plan workouts, but I'm not going to get rid of him ever for what you just said, right? There's more to it than just saying, hey, here's a new workout. It's the check-ins. It's the like we have this thing that we do. It's accountability. Like every morning, we do push-ups and we have to check in and say how many we did, right? Every morning, 7 days a week. It's that accountability that, like, if I don't text him, he's like, hey, what happened this morning? I think, oh, I did it. I just forgot to text you. You know, it's like, you know, it's that thing that kind of keeps you motivated and going.
A question, Toby. It's not necessarily about the lack of information. Like you said, there's so much information out there. Really, one of the biggest barriers is that motivation and mindset. So in your coaching, is there anything you have found particularly effective in motivating others and helping change their mindset?
I think for me, it's genuinely a case by case type deal. You know, some people, they need the motivation, which then bleeds into their life. Others, they just need a little bit of pushing. Others, they need a goal to work towards. Some people are happy kind of doing the same thing day in, day out, the routine. It's all about learning who that specific person is, because I mean, even if you think about yourself, some people are happy eating chicken and rice 3 meals a day, 7 days a week. Others, that's not going to cut it for them. Some people, they can work out in the gym for 3 months, and then the next 3 months, you might need to change to high rocks or kind of completely change the whole package to keep things fresh. So it's really, really case by case. And that there is where the best coaches, I think, stand out.
How do you determine that? Like, how do you determine that? Like, I remember when I started, I really didn't know I just knew I wanted to get healthy because I was really unhealthy, but I didn't know like what my motivation was going to be.
Yeah.
Help me figure that out. So how did you do that?
It's very trial and error. And I make that very obvious at the beginning so if someone comes in with no experience or they've never even stepped their foot into fitness before, I say that this is going to take time to learn who you are and what gets you going. It could be months or years even until you realize this clicks for me. As well as that, you also have some people who they can give 100% for a month, and you know you need a little drop off. They need a month again. The point is, if this is the only way that it can work for you, this is what we will do. So unfortunately, not everybody can train 6 days a week for every day for a whole year. So I know for some of my clients, for example, I say, right, this month we're going for it. Next month we're going to drop off. Okay, the scale weight might stay the same or even go up. It's the same. I mean, myself, 6 months of the year, I eat very, very clean, very well. Summer, then winter time, which is very common for people in the gym. I'm eating cakes. I'm eating what I want, you know, and then, okay, now it's time for work again.
Oh, to have a winter again.
We have winter here. It's just 75 degrees, you know.
But everything you said is really in line with what's called self-determination theory, which is this idea that's really well supported in research that the most sustainable motivation for health and fitness comes from autonomous motivation, which is where we engage in it because it aligns with our values and it brings that personal satisfaction rather than the external pressure. So understanding what it is to that person that really matters. And I think that's why I'm so against this idea of like the revenge body of I want it because of the extrinsic value of the appearance, the social approval, rather than I want to be stronger. I want more energy. I want more, I want to feel proud of myself. When you have people come into training with you and they have that, like, I just want to look good. It's not about feeling good. It's not about getting healthy. It's about, you know, I want a bigger butt or I want, you know, more toned abs just for the appearance or that revenge body. What do you find helps with that? Like, do you play on that? Do you help them with that? Or do you try and shift the mindset?
Again, it depends for some people. With that mindset that you just described, unfortunately, with that mindset, you will never, ever achieve what you want.
Yeah.
because it's not possible to get there. If you're going into the gym and you're getting a pump and you're seeing a really great version of yourself, and then you leave the gym and that pump goes, or, you don't eat well for a day and you're inflamed and you've got a lot of water weight, you're never going to be that image that you're trying to chase. It's always going to be further away from you. You're going to see that for an hour in the gym when you go. That is something I really, really push, in that I actually have I wish I had one prepared, but I have a kind of a graph system that I've shown people. On one axis, it's happiness, and on the other one, it's sacrifice and commitment. And what I try and get people to do is where we find where on that graph the happiness is at the highest. Because, so say you're a 7 out of 10 on the commitment. So that will be, you stick to your plan quite a lot. You train maybe 4 days a week. Some people, that is where they will be at their absolute peak. If they start sacrificing meals out, or, no, I'm not going to have that cake, they'll actually decrease. They might look better, but they will decrease on the happiness scale. And everybody is very, very different on that scale.
Yeah, I love that concept, because I actually think that relates to a lot of things. I always say that the road to success is sacrifice. If people say, I want to be, I get a lot like, I want the career that you have, I want to be where you are. And I'm like, but you don't, right? Because to get to that point, it's all sacrifice. And it's kind of this idea of balance, where people say balance is 50-50, but it's different for everyone. So for me, if I had a 50-50 balance of like work, home life, I'd be so miserable. Same with the gym. So for me, my scale is very intense of I have to always be pushing and doing something and working. And I guess that's that idea of the personal identity of finding that happiness line. So I think that that's really good advice of, don't always compare yours to other people, because what works for them, you might get the same result, but it doesn't mean you're going to be happy doing it. It's like with career goals of people say, I really, really want this position. But if you got this position or earn that kind of salary, then you might actually be very miserable getting it. Say maintaining a body, you might be really miserable with the body that you want. So finding that scale, I think, is a great idea.
Yeah, thanks. I was actually wondering, with a question to you, to be honest, Abbie, is do you believe that happiness comes first, or say with should people push through the idea that, I feel like I'm sacrificing everything to achieve what may be on the other side? Where's the line? Not the best question, but where's the line in, no, I need to keep sacrificing even though it's maybe taking away from my happiness, and trying to then push through?
Well, happiness is, although it's a complicated concept, if you dwindle it down, it really comes to purpose and belonging. And that's what we see in research. So identifying what your purpose is and feeling like you belong. If one of those are lacking, that's where happiness really starts to lack as well. And everybody is individual. So someone who is very, very social, their idea of belonging may be a little bit more important. To me, I'm just a person. I'm good. Like if I have one person, that's my belonging. I'm not a big social person. So that doesn't weigh as much. For me, my purpose is my career. That's where I find my purpose. For other people, it could be kids, right? So it really depends on those two things. If for someone, their purpose is more about just being a provider, rather than being at their optimum, then for them, that happiness is going to be a little bit less sacrifice. So it's not a case of sacrificing more gets you there. But I think that, like I said, the road to success is sacrifice. So if you're someone that you find your purpose in being at your optimum, then you have to get through sacrifice. If your purpose is, I just want a family, I want to belong, I want to feel like that I matter, that I've got good people around me, then in order to have that, there's not really as much sacrifice necessary, if that makes sense. But there is also a quote that I love, and it says, if you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice. So for me, sacrifice is time, because we're very limited with time. If you want to work out, if you want a very, very fit body, there are certain things that you absolutely need to do. Same as if you want a very successful career. So you have to sacrifice the things that deter you. If you want to be in a specific position by a specific age or have a specific fitness goal by a specific age, to get there, you need to sacrifice everything that gets in your way. So for someone who is very, very driven by the purpose of being at my optimum, then that sacrifice is absolutely necessary. Otherwise, you're not going to feel like you're living your purpose. And that comes with very, very high ambition. For people that are less ambitious, their purpose is typically not driven so much by career and fitness. So for them, that sacrifice is a little bit lower.
That's very good.
I would agree with some of that. I think that there's a balance with ambition. Ambition can be a dangerous road. If you're willing to sacrifice people in your life to achieve a goal, I don't know if that's healthy.
Well, it depends. Again, like I said, some people are people, some people are person people. So for me, I am at my happiest with a very, very small circle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have my person and I'm good. I have my dad, I have my person. That's my optimum. For some people, that is a nightmare and they need a big circle. So it's about that. I said the purpose and belonging. For me, my sense of belonging is a very, very small knit group. For other people, that sense of belonging is much wider. And it's because I'm very intra-dependent, meaning I focus on my goals and I'm very self-sufficient. A lot of other people are interdependent. They need a lot of other people around them. So that's where that purpose and belonging comes from. And that's why it's really individual. So for me, because I am small knit group, very, very tight sense of belonging with very, very few people. And my purpose is I am highly ambitious and I need to feel like I'm working at my optimum in everything that I do 100% of the time. So for me, that sacrifice, if I don't sacrifice, I'm very unhappy. For other people, it can be completely the opposite or a middle ground. I would say I'm very, the high end of the spectrum and that end. Some people very low end, it can be a middle ground. So again, it will really depend on the individual sense of what makes me feel like I belong and what makes me feel like I'm living my purpose.
Anyone that knows me knows I started this podcast in 2009 because I love to continually learn. As a matter of fact, I usually choose guests based on people that I wanted to meet and learn from. That was a lifelong learning lesson. I've had guests on this podcast from a massive range of sectors, as you can see from even today. That's why I'm especially honored to say that this episode is sponsored by Masterclass. And I've actually been a fan of Masterclass ever since my wife gifted me a subscription years ago. And always because I wanted to spend time with Gordon Ramsay, and that's why she got it for me. So maybe you're looking for some information on fitness and wellness. Well, you can reach out to Toby. You can also log on to Masterclass, and there's a master trainer, Joe Holder, on there who talks a lot about the topics we're talking about today. Or maybe if you're like me and you want to perfect Italian cuisine, Massimo Bottura teaches you the real authentic recipes right out of Italy. And it's not just me. 88% of surveyed members feel that Masterclass has made a positive impact on their lives, and I couldn't agree more. I use Masterclass, and you should too. So to help you, we have a very special offer. Their plans start at $10 a month billed annually, but you can get unlimited access to over 200 classes taught by the world's best leaders, writers, chefs, fitness experts, and more. Right now, listeners on this podcast can get an additional 15% off any annual membership. You just have to go to masterclass.com/social engineer. And that's again, you get 15% off. So masterclass.com/social engineer. And I guarantee that you're really going to love it. One last time, masterclass.com/social engineer. Now let's get back to our show.
Toby, there is a lot of misinformation about health and fitness, including things like supplements and even misinformation about what's the correct and incorrect form for certain exercises. What are some of the most common misinformation or myths that you see?
It's a deep subject, full of ego and people thinking that they know the right way. The first thing I'll say is in the gym itself, I really do believe that there are many ways to skin a cat.
I hate that saying.
She loves cats, but that's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It's okay. We can skin cats all day long, Toby. It's fine.
there's many ways to do exercises.
So much
There's
better.
many ways to boil cats.
There's I mean, the main one at the moment is weight, or the weight of what you're doing against time under tension. Some people say it's all form, and some people say you should put as much weight on things as you can. Again, there's very, very small amount of difference in a lot of things you do. The same with the supplements. The way I try to explain to people is what you're doing by going in and moving the weight or doing the exercise, you're doing the 90%, maybe even the 95%. If you really want to deep dive into research, and so the supplements, bar creatine, the rest of them, you're looking at the 5%.
Yeah.
I try to say to people, don't sweat the smaller things. If you're going in there and you're moving weights correctly and safely, that's the most important thing. Are you doing it safely? Are you at risk of injury? If the answer is no, you're probably going to be okay. You can't take too many of the wrong supplements. If you do take supplements, most of the time, if it's that they're not very good, they just won't do anything. As long as you're safe in what you're taking and that you listen to the right people and not the wrong people, honestly, there's not that many ways you can actually go wrong.
Yeah, you just have really expensive urine, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think there are some, when it comes to multivitamins, that's the one that gets me, because most people assume that they're kind of harmless insurance, but actually they can have pretty negative consequences. So when you do take excessive supplements, it can lead to toxicity.
Yeah.
And that's why like blood panels are really important. I mean, you've got to be taking a lot. But I love that you mentioned creatine as well, because I think that because there are so many myths out there and there's so much rubbish on supplements, people kind of disregard the whole thing. They kind of go either really extreme where they think supplements are the be all and end all, or they're complete nonsense. But there is research on things like creatine, which is really good if you are particularly bulking.
Yeah, that's for what I suggest to people. I mean, you have to be careful how much you're taking. I will say that. Don't just take 10 grams of it and think you're okay. Obviously, you need to do your own research. It's the same as if you put anything into your body. I do believe that you should have a little bit of an idea of what you're taking. I don't know. You'll be able to tell me, Abbie. In England, we have, is it RDA recommended daily allowance on anything you can buy in store. So if it's over 100%, obviously have a look at what you're taking. I don't know about the products elsewhere, but we do have a little bit of.
They have that here too. They have that here.
Yeah.
Where it says recommended dosage, and then like, you know, if you take 2 of these, it's 2,000% of your recommended dosage.
Yeah, in America, it's a little bit different what they provide people.
We get some pre-workout and stuff ordered in from you guys, and some of it we're not even allowed it.
Yeah.
It's pretty different over there.
Well, we pay for our healthcare, so that's that's
a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, so that's another podcast.
Yeah.
But you know, I like your point, Toby, because like when I first started this, I actually thought supplements was the way. So I spent way too much money on things that just really didn't do anything, you know? So now it's like I do a pre-workout, I do creatine, and I have protein powders because I just can't eat enough. I don't have a big appetite. So I can't eat enough to get my protein intake. So I drink my breakfast, right? Because it's the only way I'm going to get the protein I need for the day. And that brought my spending on. Oh, there's one thing I do. Sometimes I lose my energy in the middle of a workout. So I have this intra workout, like carb loader that I drink to keep my energy going. My trainer recommended that. The one that's from the UK is much better, but I can't, getting it shipped over. It's like, I might as well just cut out a kidney. So I just get one that's comparable to here.
Not sure that would be as good for your health there, Chris.
Well, you know, kidneys are worth a lot in the black market, so you can afford them.
And you'd probably have to lower your creatine if you'd lost weight.
Oh man, okay, I'm not doing that then. No.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's like I said, it's the 5%. I mean, you realistically should be getting a lot of what you're getting from food, in terms of you taking things in pill form. There are so-called bigger ones, you know, vitamin B12, obviously your vitamin D if you live in England. There are magnesium things and things like that. But on the whole, you really are talking about the 5%, because I know some people who take all these supplements and they're taking 20 tablets and then they're getting 4 hours sleep. And I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense because you're doing all that and negating it by not sleeping enough. So if you're covering the main bases, which is the actual training and the recovery, the rest of it is quite actually minor in the whole grand scheme of things.
What would you say to somebody that is hearing this podcast? They've been talking to themselves about wanting to work out, but they just feel stuck. They feel like, I don't even know how to start. If I want to start, I don't have the motivation. What would you say to someone?
I mean, genuinely a coach is a good idea, but the main thing is just getting in and having a go. I think I'm hoping, and I do believe, that the stigma around the gym and being a kind of intimidating place is starting to go. But all I can say is to anyone that's worried, start with the gym, machines, that, it's pretty forwards, back, up, down, that type of thing. And I can promise everybody that no one in the gym cares as much about you as they do about themselves in that mirror.
Yeah.
Everybody is there for self-improvement, and the gym I work in currently is full of huge people in the best shape, and they are the most self-conscious about themselves in there. They are not worried about you. And if you go in there, just don't worry about anybody else. Stick your headphones in. Just have a go. Just sit on something. Yeah. And if you're like, oh, there's a lot of machines, there's pictures on the side. If you want to look up beforehand on YouTube, a workout that you think, quite literally generic workout using gym equipment, there will be in a chest press machine, a shoulder press, a leg press that every gym has. You go in, get a little bit confident and just keep going. Honestly, the more you put it off, the worse that fear gets. You just got to go.
I like that point about the gym culture, because I do remember times when I was younger that people in the gym could be a little harsh. Like if you walked in and you couldn't bench 135, you're like, you're weak, you're pathetic, right? But now, my daughter was going to a gym locally here, and I went with her a couple times, and everyone in there was just so friendly. They were just, if they saw you like kind of struggling, they'd come over and say, "Oh, can I give you some advice on that?" Nobody was like, and you're right. Those guys are looking at you, wondering if you're judging them,
Yeah, that's
and
what
it was nice to see that.
The gym that, the gyms that I've gone to is typically the most intimidating looking people are the ones that are the most likely to help you, because the intimidating looking ones have been doing it for such a long time. They know how hard it is. And they've seen so many people. And, I was nervous to go to the gym because I'd always been into fitness, but very different types of fitness. And I found having a trainer just at the beginning, just to show me, what is this machine? Because this is so confusing. And how do I do it safely? And then I was terrified to ask people for help. And when you do, you're like, please, can you help me? You realize actually people like to be asked for help. It makes them feel useful. So just getting over that barrier of like, could you please help me? Could you please spot me? I think that in itself gives a lot of confidence.
I found that also when I see a guy that's really huge and he's doing an exercise I don't know, if I go up and say, "Hey, what is that for? Like, tell me about that. It looks interesting." Automatically, like, you're in the group, right? Because you're like humble enough to walk up and say, "Give me advice." And now they're like, "Oh man, yeah, let me show you. That's what it works," and that kind of level sets the whole gym. If you're nervous about it, just do that. Walk up to somebody that looks exactly how you want to look and say, "Hey, tell me about that exercise. I've never seen that before." And
I would
you'll
love
have
to
a
do
best
a
friend.
social experiment of going up to the biggest, most jacked guys confidently and saying, "Oh, can you show me that?" And I guarantee quite a lot of them will be actually taken aback by your confidence, and they'll kind of be a little bit, whoa.
Yeah.
And you'll actually almost put them on the back foot.
Yeah.
That'll be quite cool.
Yeah, I do that when I go, because it's like I'm something nervous, you're self-conscious, and you want to, and I think that ego you have to kind of suppress that. That can get in the way, especially for men. You can hurt yourself because you see the guy next to you got 3 plates on there and he's doing deadlifts, and you can only do 2 at home. But I'm going to put 3 on there because I don't want that guy to think I'm weak. Next thing you know is you're ripping something. It's like not great. Lose the ego and ask people. That's what I found. It really works well.
Mm-hmm.
So, Toby, if people want to know more about you or if they want to contact you as a trainer, what's the best way for them to do that?
To just hit me up on my Instagram. I'm quite fortunate in that I'm quite organic. So in my area, I don't have to seek too much, but if you're from nowhere near me, my Instagram, Toby Wright with 2 Y's, you can drop me a DM. And the main thing that I want to say is that even if it's a question, you don't want to come to me for anything professional. I value and pride myself on giving people the time of day, no matter what it is. I don't care if you're paying me. My mantra is that I believe that everybody should be able to afford a coach. I think everyone's entitled to a coach because of the benefits that it can bring. And that's something that I will always stick to, is to provide affordable coaching, because there's a lot of people out there that can't afford it. And I think that it's going to move this way, but just affordable coaching for people.
Well, that's good. And we'll put that link in the show notes. Hey, on this series, I've been doing this since 2009. I have 2 questions I always ask at the end. I know for me, if it wasn't for a few key people in my life, mentors, I would not be where I am today. And I can think about those handful of people, and I can tell you exactly what they did for me to get me here. Do you have any people that you would consider key mentors in your life that got you to where you are today?
Yeah. I've got a few. Yeah. I've got probably my parents, my mum and my dad, and then my granddad as well. All of them have contributed something different into making me the person that I am. I grew up predominantly around women, and that really, I think, gave me the biggest part of who I am in what I value and what I look for in the world. And then my granddad was the one who pushed me into the sports and and probably pushed me into loving what I love. So I'd say those 2, and then my dad.
That's great. That's really great. And doesn't have to be about the topic we spoke about today, but have you read any books where you're like, everyone should read this book?
Actually, yeah, but it's kind of questionable the person it's about in the UK. I used to be obsessed with, and still a little bit am, the SAS. But the guy is just, he's now gone the wrong way. So I don't really want to promote his book too much. But I read a guy called Ant Middleton's book. Now if you know who he is, you might disagree with what he says now, which I actually do. But in terms of me having a fight about me and, realizing that I do have the power within to achieve and do what I want, I will say in that regard, the book is quite incredible.
What's the name of the book?
There's 2 books that he's written. Either of them are both pretty good at that.
Both of his books, then we'll get them in the show notes. When he wrote the book, if you agree with that, that's different than what he accomplishes later on in life, right? So people can change and become better or worse, but at that moment in time, that information was something that you needed, and it resonated with you. We create a book list on our website, and since 2009, what we've been doing is getting these recommendations, linking them to the podcast, and then putting an Amazon link so people can. We have a ton of listeners that actively read all the time, and they're always asking, like, what book should I read next? So,
I'm going to start priming them to mention my books.
No, because your books are already there. I like it when we get new. I've never even heard of this guy. So I like it when we get new recommendations, because sometimes I'll go to the list and say, what have I not read yet? And do that. So I just want to thank you for coming on the show today. It's a great conversation. Thank you, Abbie, for recommending Toby to come on, and really love your mantra and your attitude towards health and fitness. So I wish you the best.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
And thank you all for joining us today. Next month, who do we got? We have a football star, Marcus Applefield. So he's an ex-NFL player. We'll be talking to him about his success and what he does now. So until then, stay safe.